What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Master League submitted to the channel by Bolt Carrier, who's running a pretty interesting team with Shadow Salamence in the lead, Groudon with Dragontail as the say swap, and Shadow Excadrill as the closer. Now I don't typically get many Master League submissions, and presumably not many of you actually play in the Master League, so let me know in the comment section down below if you still enjoy watching Master League content, even if you don't necessarily play in it. Now before we get into the question of the day, I want to give a quick shout out to DJ Zimmerman for their donation in my recent live stream. And speaking of live streams, I will be streaming once again with Jamie Finn later this week, probably on Thursday evening. So if you're interested in that, I think we're going to be doing 150 unique shadow Pokemon in the Open Great League once again, but with some of the newer shadows that have been released. So if you want to check that out, then definitely make sure you do so. But with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favorite shadow Pokemon to use in the Open Master League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, heading into the first battle is Shadow Salamence into Mewtwo. So a fairly neutral matchup. Of course, Side Strikes are going to hit very hard, but we're going to swap and actually catch the move onto our Groudon. So the opponent goes for Side Strike there, going to let it go through, and we bait out Yveltal, which unfortunately isn't a good matchup for us, but I actually don't mind this play whatsoever. Not even going to bother throwing a Fire Punch here, just going to let the Groudon go down, basically force the opponent to throw their energy straight away there. And now we can come back in with the Shadow Salamence, going to overfarm, throwing after 4 Dragon Tails, winning CMP, going for the fly and getting the KO, and as well we've now got enough energy to make it to another fly up against the Mewtwo coming back in. So really nice play here. Gonna swap into our Shadow Excadrill. The opponent does actually hold onto their energy before throwing a charge move. Gonna shield, the opponent full sends the Shadow Ball, and they're gonna swap into their own Groudon, but they are running Mud Shot as the fast move. We're actually gonna no shield this. I'm very unfamiliar with these matchups, but it looks like we knew that we could live a Fire Punch from that range, so we let it go through, go for the first Drill Run. I'm going to go for one extra Mud Shot here, going for Drill Run number 2. Drill Run is going to get the KO. They come back in with the Mewtwo, and we can safely come in with the Shadow Salamence. The opponent recognizing they will get Dragontail farm down, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Melmetal in the lead. Of course, not a great matchup for us. We're actually going to stay in initially and then try and make a catch, but I probably would have just swapped straight away into Groudon. As well, when we swap immediately, I guess the opponent doesn't know that we're running Dragontail, and apparently they still haven't realized this as they come in with a Garchomp. We're hitting for super effective damage here, going for a Fire Punch bait, don't mind that whatsoever. Committing to the Precious Blades, but unfortunately we barely don't get there in time, so the opponent does get a huge farm down. We're going to come in with the Shadow Salamence, and we are going to shield at the last second, and that is a good shield there as they full send the Outrage. We're now going to swap straight away into Excadrill, and this time we do make the catch there as the opponent goes for a double resisted Rock Slide. Very nicely done. We're now going to fire off the Drill Run immediately as well, throwing on CMP, winning CMP, and grabbing the shield from the opponent. So at this point, definitely going to respect the damage from a superpower, and the opponent comes in with a Mewtwo. Now this is going to hit hard, but it is resisted damage, so we should be able to live this. They go for a Side Strike. We're going straight for the Drill Run here. Unfortunately, losing CMP. Drill Run is going to be no shielded as they don't have any shields in play, and we swap back into Salamence, going straight for the Fly. Fly will get the KO there. They're going to come back in with the Melmetal. We're committing to an Outrage here, which I do believe is the right scenario, because if we go for Fly, that won't KO. They go for the Rock Slide there, and because they throw their energy, we are once again able to make it to the Drill Run, throwing on the CMP die, and Drill Run gets the KO up against the Melmetal, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, Shadow Salamence into Melmetal once again. So at the sort of slightly lower elo range, I guess Melmetal is a very common pick because it's very easy to power up. You can do like a few Meltan boxes and basically get enough XL candies to power one up, which is a nice change from all the other legendaries and mythicals where it's almost impossible if you're a free-to-play player to actually get the XL candies required to power those Pokemon up. But anyways, the opponent comes in with Lugia. Unfortunately, they are going to be resisting the Precious Blades here, so we have to settle for these Fire Punches, which don't do an awful lot of damage, but they don't commit to a full Dragontail farm down. We have chipped them quite a fair bit. I'm also pretty unsure as to like the CPs of some of these Pokemon, so I'm pretty sure this Lugia is probably just level 40. It's kind of hard for me to tell as I'm someone that doesn't really play in the Master League an awful lot, but I'm pretty certain that Lugia can get above 4,000 CP. But either way, gonna fire off the Rock Slide here. Rock Slide gets the KO up against the Lugia, and it might just be what I mentioned about how some Pokemon are just a lot easier to power up than others, like this Melmetal that the opponent swaps back into, but they catch a Draw Run. Not really sure why they did that, but we're able to make a very nice catch here, catching the Superpower, and we're able to go for a full Dragon Tail farm down. Now they come back in with the Zekrom, and we are dealing huge damage with these Dragon Tails. Gonna settle for a resisted fly, but at this point, they're gonna shield that up, and we've got near back-to-back Draw Runs already loaded. We can safely shield our extra drill. They make it to the crunch, they drop our defense, but it shouldn't matter here. As we're back-to-back, we throw the first one. Draw Run number 1 grabs the final shield, and just for the sake of it, we're now gonna fire off a Rock Slide, and Rock Slide gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. So going into next battle, we're going to see Shadow Salamence into Ho-Oh. So this is pretty good for us, definitely where we want to see it. We are, of course, resisting the Incinerate damage. Don't want to throw straight away here, just because, of course, that would be on alignment. So going for 1 extra Dragon Tail, not the perfect timing, but probably it is better to throw before the opponent throws here, as the opponent goes for a Sacred Fire, fishing for the debuff to our attack. We're actually going to swap out there. I'm not so sure about that, but the opponent does hold onto the energy. They swap into Zarude, and because we're running Dragon Tail, this isn't that bad of a matchup for us, as we can go for a Fire Punch. The opponent is going to fire off their Charge Move pretty much straight away, going for a Power Whip. We can now come back in with our Shadow Salamence, and we are going to go for the Fly after 2 Dragon Tails. Overfarming just slightly, getting the KO with the Fly, and they come in with a Xerneas. Now this is a very awkward situation to be in. Personally, I would have just thrown the Charge Move straight away, because we weren't able to swap out there, and now if the opponent is running close combat, then there's just not a lot we can do. But the opponent does swap back into the Ho-Oh. We go for the Rock Slide there, predicting the swap, and we do grab the shield though. So at this point, it's still not going to be that great for us, unless the opponent doesn't make it to a Charge Move on their Xerneas. We've got back-to-back Charge Moves, but unfortunately, they are at the Charge Move there. So it's a CMP tie. Fly doesn't quite get the knockout there, and it doesn't really matter what they throw at this point. Even a resisted close combat gets the KO, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But into the next battle, great lead for us, assuming they're running counter on their Haxorus, and they are. They're going to swap into Melmetal, and we're going to swap into our Shadow Excadrill. Now, I think from full health, we can live a Superpower, and they're not going to be able to just go for a Thundershock farm down, but they will actually go for a Rock Slide bait. We call the bait there, and now they make it to a Superpower, and with the Rock Slide damage, that would put us into range where they could get the KO. So, going to use a shield there. I probably would have thrown the Draw Run slightly earlier, but I don't know if it would KO from full health, so maybe we did need to overfarm there. But either way, grabbing a shield from the Haxorus, coming back in, and still making it to another Draw Run here. And Draw Run is going to grab both shields from the Haxorus. At this point, we come in with our Groudon, probably expecting it to be Breaking Swipe, and maybe Night Slash is the other charge move, and it is Night Slash, and they actually get the boost there, which is not ideal, but I think we should be able to just shield this up, and then go for a full Dragon Tail farm down, coming out with a lot of energy. They're going to come in with Togekiss, and this is definitely the correct play there. Banking the energy, coming in with the Salamence, making sure we would be able to outpace them, going for the Fly, dealing huge damage, and we're actually going to go for Precipice Blades. I have literally no clue if this does more damage than a Fire Punch, but it gets the KO there, and we're able to take that game. But yeah, that is very interesting to know. If a Precipice Blades does more damage, even when it's double resisted, than a Fire Punch, I have no clue, but let me know in the comment section down below if you know the answer to that. But anyways, into next battle, gonna save swap into our Groudon. Didn't even see what was in the lead, to be honest, but we bait out a Metagross, we grab a shield advantage, and I do agree with just full sending the Precipice Blades there, as I think because we are running Dragon Tail, it's a bit of an awkward matchup there. Might as well just grab the shield advantage or get the KO. Now they will outpace us to the next charge move, gonna play it safe, use our shield as they full send the Earthquake, and now we can massively overfarm here, farming to at least back-to-back Draw Runs before throwing any energy. Gonna go for the Draw Run here. Draw Run will be getting the KO. They're gonna come in with the Dragonite, and is this a Superpower? It's just a Dragon Claw bait there, which is a bit unfortunate, but we've got so much energy that we're going to fire up to back-to-back Rock Slides once again. Rock Slide gets the KO. They come in with their own Excadrill, and we're going to swap, make the catch. Is this going to be the Draw Run, or did they predict the catch? No, it is the Draw Run. That is double resisted damage. We are now basically just going to force the opponent to throw, and again, I agree with this play here, because if we go for a Fly there, and it doesn't KO, they can just continue to overfarm, but I love that play. Now we've got back-to-back Draw Runs here. They don't have a charge move whatsoever, so no risk of CMP tying. Draw Run number 2 gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we see Shadow Salamence into Dragonite once again. So again, probably just going to stay in this matchup initially, swap, make a catch onto our Groudon, catching the Dragon Claw, which will just be neutral damage. They might even stay in here. Nope, never mind. Going to come in with a Kyogre, and we are committing to the Precious Blades, and we are just barely able to get there in time, which is very nice. This should just basically guarantee a shield there, and we can still live a Surf, I believe, so we're going to no-shield this. It is the Surf, we barely hang on, and we actually go for one extra Dragon Tail as well. Confident that we're living the Waterfall damage. We make it to the fly, getting the KO. They come in with their own extra drill once again, and as long as they don't make a catch here onto their Dragonite, we should be fine, as we do have a shield advantage. Of course, we've now lost that advantage, but they swap into the Dragonite. They don't make the catch. We could have actually overfarmed quite a lot more than we did here, but either way, we should be fine here, as we will outpace them to back-to-back draw runs. So just going to play it safe, use the shield here. We're going to farm 2 back-to-back draw runs, actually going for a really disrespectful rock side bait here, and honestly that is super risky. I definitely would not go for that there, because if I was the opponent, knowing the opponent's already at, or knowing my opponent is already at back-to-back charge moves, I'm just no shielding at that point, and if we go for a rock side there, we actually give them the potential to come back from that matchup. But either way, we get the win in the end. Into next battle, going to see a Kyogre coming in to our Groudon save swap, which is definitely very unfortunate, but going straight for Precipice Blades, grabbing the shield once again, but they can go for a huge Waterfall farm down, and this time we might actually have to respect the damage coming from a potential Blizzard. So gonna shield, it is just the Surf bait unfortunately, but I believe this will just be another Surf here. I'm not like super familiar with Kyogre, but I believe, yeah, that was not enough energy for a Blizzard there, so we can go for the Dragon Tail farm down, and let's see, the opponent probably going to come back in with the Zacian. We're going to overfarm here, throwing not at the best timing. I personally would have just gone for one Dragon Tail and then thrown here, but this is really awkward because we can't really swap into Extra Drill, presuming they're going to be running close combat, so we are just staying in, hoping the opponent does throw, and they do eventually throw a charge move. So just going to let the Salamence go down. They go for Wild Charge there. Maybe that means they're running Wild Charge and play rough. We're going to shield, and they are actually running close combat there, but they're going to swap into a Yveltal, and at this point, I don't think there's a lot we can do. I do believe they're already at another close combat, so we go for the rock side. We kind of need to farm up to back-to-back charge moves, but they're probably running Focus Blast on Yveltal, and the opponent actually was one Snarl away, but either way, they make it to the charge move. Close combat gets the KO, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. Into next battle, we're going to see a Landorus in the lead, so pretty good matchup for us, as of course we are resisting the ground type damage. They're going to swap into Melmetal, and we already know we can just barely live a superpower from full health, so going straight for the drill run there. Maybe should have overfarmed and waited for them to throw, but there you can see we live that. They make it to back-to-back charge moves though, which is very unfortunate, as now we do have to shield this to maintain alignment. And let's see, the opponent probably going to come back in with the Landorus, so I believe just go straight for the rock side. Actually, we go for one extra mud shot first. Doesn't really make a difference here. Rock side, going to be no shielded. It does just under half the health, and they swap into Dialga. Now, we do have a little bit more fast refresher when we're running Dragon Tail here, but I mean, of course, we get to the charges a lot faster when we're running mud shot, so I don't think this is necessarily that bad for us. Gonna no shield as they go for the Iron Head, and we still make it to another Fire Punch. So this is really nice for us. Fire Punch will be coming through, actually gets shielded by the Dialga, and at this point, I think, yeah, definitely just shield this up, go for a full Dragon Tail farm down, and then we can fire off a charge move into Landorus. Coming back in, we're actually gonna commit to the Outrage, which is completely unnecessary. You can see they are very low right now, but either way, Outrage gets the KO. We get the Dragon Tail farm down up against Dialga, and we're able to take that game. So going into next battle, Shadow Salamence into Togekiss. Now this is awful for us. Gonna say swap into Groudon. Honestly, probably just hoping that they're gonna swap straight away into like a Kyogre or something, but this probably even worse for us just because we can do very little damage here. Of course, these Dragon Tails are non-stab and double resisted. Fire Punch, not going to do much damage here. Of course, we could go for Precipice Blades, probably do slightly more damage, if I was right about assuming that Precipice Blades does more damage than the Fire Punch, but definitely not as energy efficient. So either way, we grab both shields from the Togekiss, which is very strange. I guess since we're already running an unusual fast move with Dragon Tail, maybe we could be running Fire Blast or something, but either way, definitely shouldn't be shielding that. They're going to swap into Necrozma, and we actually swap out of our extra drill there, which is kind of strange, probably just a reactionary swap. Either way, we come in with the Salamence, and that's probably not that good for us that the Dark Pulse doesn't take us out, because now they can get a pretty big Shadow Claw farm down and come out with a charge move loaded. So definitely not ideal. Gonna have to shield this up here. Even a Dark Pulse is gonna put us into farm down range. So we shield that up, we get the Mudshot farm down. I believe they've got a charge move on the Togekiss. I think this is just gonna be another Ancient Power, but gonna shield anyways and go for a huge Mudshot farm down here. The opponent actually swaps into a Melmetal, but we've got enough residual energy here. Gonna go straight for Drill Run number 1. Gonna go for Drill Run number 2, and this will of course get the KO. And then from this range, we should still be able to go for a Mudshot farm down up against the Togekiss, so the opponent just concedes the match there. Going into next battle, we see Shadow Salamence into a a Garchomp. So we're going to swap into our Groudon, as we are still hitting for super effective damage with the Dragon Tails here. Going to shield this. They did farm up quite a bit, and the opponent is going to full send the Outrage there. And now we can commit to a full Dragon Tail farm down. Not really sure why they're not swapping out here, but they're going to come in with a Rhyperior. So we're going to go and bait with a Fire Punch. Fire Punch grabs the shield, and that does allow us to make it to a Precipice Blade. Precipice Blades going to grab both shields from the Rhyperior, but this is still a bit of a tricky situation here. Going to come in with our Shadow Salamence, and we are going to call the bait, but the opponent full sends the Rock Wrecker, dealing huge damage. They're now going to make it to another charge move. We're going to have to shield this up here, as the opponent goes for the Surf, which probably would have taken us out actually. We can now fire off a Drill Run. It's not looking ideal, but Shadow Excadrill is a very powerful closer, and they've got Metagross in the back. It looks like they've given up, but no, actually, never mind. I really hate it when that happens. It looked like they stopped attacking, but actually it was just lag. It caught up in the end, but either way, a Drill Run from a Shadow Excadrill gets the KO up against the Metagross, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, going to see another Mewtwo in the lead. So once again, going to catch the charge move onto our Groudon. As they go for a Side Strike, it looks like we're basically using Groudon to bait out something like a Kyogre. We tried to commit to the Precipice Blades, and we weren't really able to react in time, recognizing that we weren't going to get there and fire off a Fire Punch. And maybe if the opponent wasn't familiar with the counts with Dragon Tail, they might have shielded anyways. But either way, going to no-shield this as they go for a Surf there, not dealing that much damage, and they come in with a Mudshot Groudon. Now this is actually a really good matchup for us. We probably could afford to let the Fire Punch go through here. Go for one extra Dragon Tail. Again, not throwing on the best timing. I'd like to go for either one Dragon Tail or 3 Dragon Tails before throwing a charge move. Let's swap back into Mewtwo here. We're going to come in with the Shadow Excadrill, and I believe this is enough for like a Shadow Ball, and we are going to no-shield. It is the Shadow Ball, and oh my gosh, are we about to lose this game here with 2 shields still in play. We go for the Drill Run, we get the KO, but they can just Mudshot farm us down, and now we are about to be embarrassed by a Groudon here, as they're going to go for a double resisted Mudshot farm down up against our Shadow Salamence. Actually, nope, they're actually not even committing to the full farm down. They're going to fire off both Fire Punches here, which is very unnecessary, but they still get the Mudshot farm down, and unfortunately we do lose that game. So definitely should have just shielded our Excadrill and we would have been fine. But into the next battle, we see a Necrozma Dawn Wings form this time around. They will just barely outpace us. I don't know how much energy a Moongeist Beam is, even though I have used it in the Ultra League fairly recently, but we shield anyways. I wasn't certain if it was enough energy for a Moongeist Beam, but either way, going to no shield this time around on our Groudon, and again the opponent staying in, giving us a huge Dragon Tail farm down just to come in with their Kyogre. So bit of a strange decision there. Could have definitely just swapped into Kyogre and farmed us down a lot sooner, but either way, we grab a shield there. I wouldn't have swapped, I wouldn't have come in straight away because we're switch locked whilst the opponent did actually just let Necrozma go down. So if they did have a good answer to Salamence in the back, then coming in straight away would have definitely not been a good idea. But luckily for us, it looks like they don't have a great answer to Salamence as they let the fly go through. We come in with our Shadow Excadrill, and once again, kind of just hoping we can sweep with the little mole here. Gonna shield up the Surf, go for the Mudshot farm down, and they've got the Dialga in the back, so things are looking great for us. We can just go straight for the Drill Run here. Drill Run gonna hit for huge damage, and just for the sake of it, once again, going for the Rock-Side BM. Not actually, okay, never mind. We do hit a few bubbles there, one row, and we're able to take out Dialga to take that game. But into the next battle, we're going to see another Mewtwo in the lead. So once again, probably just going to stay in initially. They're actually running Confusion this time around, which is very unusual for Mewtwo in the Master League. We're going to swap, make the catch here, as the opponent goes for a Side Strike once again, and again baiting out Zarude, which isn't that bad for us because we are running Dragon Tail and Fire Punch. So Fire Punch gonna do some decent damage here. The opponent probably could have just committed to a full Vine Whip farm down, so definitely gonna take this. They go for the Power Whip there. We can now over farm, and again, I don't know why we're throwing after 2 Dragon Tails each time. Either go after 1 or 3. 2 is just not very good timing at all there. But either way, we can just... I was about to say we can just shield this, but no, we're going to save both our shields for the Shadow Excadrill. I don't agree with that because this Rock Slide will not get the KO here. It might put them into Mudshot farm down range, in which case maybe that's actually pretty good for us. But either way, I'm going to shield up the Dark Pulse. They come back in with the Mewtwo. We're just going to fire off the Drill Run straight away. Could have gone for 1 extra Mudshot and not taken the next damage from Confusion. But they come back in with Zarude, and we do get that perfect Mudshot farm down. So getting pretty lucky here. But they've got Metagross in the back, and that's definitely going to be game over. We go for the Drill Run, dealing big damage. And again, just because we can, firing off the Rock Side. Gonna note, okay, again, hitting 1 bubble there, kind of ruining what I'm saying. That's okay. We're able to take out the Metagross and take that game, and into the final battle of this video, leading into Zygarde. So I assume we're probably going to stay in initially and then maybe try and catch a crunch onto our Groudon. Groudon basically just seems to be the damage sponge, which I don't mind. They go for the crunch there. They don't get the debuff, which is quite nice for us. We are not going to bother throwing a Fire Punch as that is resisted damage. We're actually going to shield the next crunch though, and because we shield that, we're able to get a full Dragon Tail farm down and coming out with a ton of loaded energy. And again, they didn't swap out there, so don't have a clear answer, but this is a fairly decent response. But because we got so much energy, we can bait with a Fire Punch and now full send the Precipice Blades, and Precipice Blades going to grab that final shield from the opponent. We're just going to let Groudon go down here. Disarming Voice does get the KO. We're going to come in with our Shadow Excadrill, and unless they're running like Petal Blizzard, then we should be able to tank whatever they throw here pretty comfortably as well. They go for the Moonblast. That does actually do over 50% of our health, but that's fine. Gonna fire off the Drill Run here, and Excadrill has been a very strong closer recently. So again, actually reading that, maybe it will be able to close strong in this battle. So we swap into our Salamence, and they've actually got a Skeledirge in the back, so we can actually just throw a Fly straight away. And I wouldn't be surprised if this gets the KO here. Fly will take out the Skeledirge from that range, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.